habits, goals, all these things seem like such a far away reach when we're trying to improve our own habits and our own goals, but especially when we're trying to relay that to our kids and our kids that have ADHD. It seems like, yeah, that's a nice idea, and I can totally get on board with how it would be beneficial, but I really can't get my kid on board for this. So I'm going to give you 3 takeaways, 1 hack that comes straight from the book Atomic Habits by the author James Clear. And not only am I going to tell you, quick highlights of what the book says, but I'm going to tell you how I marry the Atomic Habits philosophy, theory with the families and the kids that I work with every day, so that it doesn't become this far off, distant, imaginary land where my kids actually build habits and maybe work towards some goals. Stick along, and I'm going to give you some really easy ways to get those into your household. 3 takeaways. First one is the cardinal rule of behavior is the only way you can create a habit is by changing your behavior. So let's make it easy, right? Make sure the behavior you're trying to create feels good. Hold on. Before you tell me, well, everything can't feel good, they're not going to want to do this, they're not going to want to do that. It's not so much about the end result. It's more about the micro steps along the way that make it feel good. Sometimes it's not about turning in your homework. It's about, cool, you remembered to bring the book home. Cool, you remembered to write it down. That's a win for some of our kids. Sometimes it's not about, running the 3 miles that we said we were going to do to get in shape. Sometimes it's about, okay, well, we walked for 1.5 miles. That's still a win because it's getting us closer to our end result, but more importantly, it's building a system. So make sure that we find a way to micro win whatever it is our kids have done, because that's going to rewire the brain to be like, oh, this feels good. It's almost like a hack. A lot of times what happens is they're trying and trying, and we all really love that instant gratification. Well, making a habit, working towards something, you need delayed gratification. So chunking it down and bringing in these micro wins is a way to hack that delayed gratification. I love this hack, I think, more than anything else. Motivation is overrated. Motivation is overrated. So many times I get phone calls. How do I motivate my child to do this? How do I motivate them to do that? Guess what, folks? You can't motivate them. As adults, as the adults in the room, parents, teachers, we can encourage, but here's what we can really do. We can change their environment. One of the things they talk about in this book is one of the ways to get your behavior to change. Remember, changing your behavior is what creates this habit, right? So if we can take it step back, if we can make the behavior that we want them to do, and hopefully they want to do it as well, so they cannot miss it, that's another way to create that micro win. So changing their environment is almost more powerful than waiting for rainbows and fairy dust to help them get motivated to do it, because that might not happen. Actually, a lot of times the motivation comes after. One of the examples they give is, making, before they go to bed at night, making sure that the sneakers are first thing out of bed, so that all of a sudden your environments change. There's no time to be like, well, I have to get dressed, I can't find my shoes. Boom, it's there. An example for the kids is those water bottles are always missing forever. Have a bin right in the car where the water bottle goes. That way it serves as a cue, as a reminder, oh, I left the water bottle inside. If you have a classroom, have a bin for the water bottles. You're changing the environment so that you don't have 7,000 water bottles at the end of the school year. It's been proven that environment really shapes our behavior. Think about it. You go into a library, a church, you're automatically, the cues in your environment are going to tell you, let's talk in a quiet voice. A lot of our executive functioning skills rely a lot on the environment. It's now, my first class is math. Okay, now I went to lunch. So I'm getting pretty good at the passage of time just because I'm in that environment of school. The power of 1%. I'm probably equally as passionate about the power of 1% as I am about forget motivation. So the power of 1% goes right along with less is more. So many times I have to field parents, teachers, even kids that want to do more, and they want to do more assignments, and they want to work on more things. And that 1% rule is basically, if we can get 1% better every day, we will compound the effect of that behavior and of that habit. Not only will we compound the effect, we will have a ton of micro wins, right? Because we can all do 1%, right? It's very different than, tackling the whole research project. Then let's just put it on the calendar, see what it looks like. It's very different to do 1% that's sustainable, right? We want to create micro wins. Remember, the first one was make it enjoyable. Hack your brain to thinking that you're doing something you like, that's something good. Our brain wants to be successful, right? So 1% keeps it sustainable. It keeps those micro wins going, and it really sets us up for more success of having that habit. And I love this about Atomic Habits. Now, I will say, here's the downfall of this 1%. We're doing this 1% every day. And a lot of times as parents, we're like, okay, but we're not seeing the result we want. We're not seeing the end result that we want. So this, he calls it in the book, which I actually love it. It's called the plateau of latent potential. So it's basically, the iceberg, you see the tip of the iceberg on the top, but we don't see everything that's going on the bottom. He gives another example of an iron pounder, and they're banging, and nothing happens until one time, boom, the iron breaks. So what you're not seeing is all that potential that happened in the background. So then it looks like, oh, you're an overnight success. It's magical. You have a best-selling book, and oh, she's living her best life. But what you didn't see is the 7 books that bombed that nobody heard about. So that becomes very frustrating for families, because we're putting, and even for the kids, because they're putting in the effort, which again goes back to the first one. We need to create those micro wins, and we need to chunk it down, because it's hard to wait to get that. One time I did this whole class of training on executive functionings, and it was, the kid had to get on time for the bus. He still wasn't making it on time for the bus, but he had done so much work. He planned the night before. He packed his bag the night before. He set his alarm clock the night before. He was still getting closer. So one day he's going to get to the bus and make it on time, and they're going to be like, oh, from one day to the next, he was able to get on the bus on time. But it wasn't. He had been working on it. It was complicated. It had to involve sleeping. He did a lot of work before showing up to the bus on time. So here are my hacks, okay? So we're going to focus on that 1%, and we're really going to focus on the wins. We're also going to survive. We're going to know that latency effect is going to come in, and we're going to be like, what in the heck? We've been trying and nothing works. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the system. That example I gave you of the boy trying to make it to the school bus, he had so much progress because he had created a system from the night before to get himself out the door on time. So we're going to focus on the system so we can hack, knowing that we're going to have to wait for this behavior to really make a new habit. We're also going to focus on the process, not so much the results. We will keep the results in mind, but we want the process, the systems, the mindset, all to come in place for us to really build that habits. He says this several times, and I'm going to share it with you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your systems. So your systems are what keep you going. Your systems are what help you get to the next level. Your systems are what help you overcome your obstacles. And I love that, because sometimes that end goal is so far away, but we can definitely start making progress with our systems. So this little bonus tip, so to say, is something that he talks about. There's 3 ways that you can change your behavior: the outcome, the process, which we talked about, the system, and your identity. A lot of the kids I work with and the families I work with, the kids are like, I'm terrible at school, I'm super disorganized, I'm a mess. Even sometimes the parents and teachers are like, oh, they're lazy if they tried harder. So what the book says is that the best way to get change in the habits is to identify as the person. So one of the examples is, your goal is to play a song on the guitar. So the best way to do that is not by the guitar, it's not by the system, it's by thinking, I am a musician, I am a guitar player. Another example he gives in the book is, if somebody wanted to lose weight, so instead of worried about, what she ate, her counting, her macros, her protein, her workout, she got the best success by changing her identity of herself. What would a fit person eat? What would a fit person do? I'm trying to become a fit person. So if we could flip this narrative for our kids, which so many times is negative. I'm in the middle of doing an intensive, and all 4 of my kids from 1st grade to 4th grade all said that they were horrible students in one way or another. If I'm a horrible student, I will act as a horrible student. If I'm trying to be a good student, I'm trying to be a mathematician, I will look for things that help me be better at math, and my mindset will be different. So I love that he talked about this in the book. It's a cool circle chart. So go ahead, if you're working on having your ADHD kiddo have better habits and behaviors, put some of these takeaways in place, because they're really going to make a difference in how you're able to help them move the needle to the next step. So Atomic Habits by James Clear is the book we talk about today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I have quite a few more book reviews coming up. I just did one on sleeping smarter, which is one of the basics that nobody talks about with our ADHD kids. So go ahead, and I will see you on my YouTube channel.